Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to MEC-TEC. We're outside on the drive today. It is absolutely freezing cold and we're working on the family wagon, Mrs MEC-TEC's Grand CMAX. Now in the past I've done a video on her old Grand CMAX which was a Euro 5 2-litre TDCi. This is a Euro 6 2-litre TDCi, so it is very slightly different to the old one, and I thought I would do a video on this one for anyone who's thinking about doing the job themselves. Hopefully we'll make it a little bit easier for you to do and show you exactly what you have to do and where you've got to put stuff and all that sort of thing. So without further ado, let's crack on, get some work done, and I'll show you exactly what needs doing, where things go, and I'll obviously point out the differences between the Euro 5 and the Euro 6. Rightio, you join me underneath the front of the car. Now the first thing to do with this is to get this lower panel off. Now I always find if you start furthest underneath the car, it won't fall on your head. If you get the ratchet going the right way. And these are torque sturdy bits that hold this on. You've got a row of 3 at the back. This is losing your socket off the end of the ratchet. Right, there's your 3 along the back. You've got 2 at the sides, which is sort of up near the wheel arches. In fact, this one's missing, so I've only got 1 on this one. I've lost my socket again. Where's my socket gone? There it is. My extension on this ratchet is the ball that holds the socket in is not working. Okay, so normally you'd have 2 there, 1 each side, but obviously I've only got 1. And then along the front edge, you've got another 3. So just move you around slightly so you can see. Hopefully you can see that all right. So another 3 along the front here. It sounds daft, but with modern cars I always find this the most faffiest bit. Because on all my old stuff I don't have undershields. There we go. Right, now with those undone, it's got like a little piece that kind of slides into the subframe just there. I believe you just pull that forward, yeah, and it unslots off of there. It's these bits here that you can see there. And there we go, that is your undershield off. Now with the undershield off, you can see 2 differences straight away. On the Euro 5, the oil filter is a cartridge mounted on the top of the engine, and it's a right faff to get to. On the Euro 6, as you can see, it's a cartridge, it is a full cartridge, not a cartridge style, it's a spin-on style filter, so that is a lot easier straight away. Also on the old Euro 5, I believe the sump on it is metal and it's got a normal drain plug on it. This one has got a plastic sump, and it's basically got a circlip with a half twist drain plug, so that makes it even easier to drain the oil. So that is going to be the first thing we're going to do. We're going to get that draining. And then obviously whilst that's draining, we've got a bowl underneath it, we can then go topside and start working on stuff up there. So let me grab a pair of pliers and I'll show you exactly how that comes apart, and obviously then we'll go topside and start doing some stuff up there. Right, I just thought I'd show you before we start draining the oil what I've got in the service kit, and this came from Genuine Online Parts on eBay, which is actually Vosper's. They do a lot of selling through eBay. So as you can see here, we've got the 6 litres of engine oil, obviously over there. We've got the air filter in that big box there. This is the fuel filter on there, the oil filter, cabin filter, and also, very importantly, a new O-ring, which is in a massive bag so you don't lose it, for the sump plug. So there we go, that is our service kit. That all came, as I say, from Genuine Online Parts, which is Vosper's, through eBay. I think it was about 120 quid. Hang on, let's look at the bill and tell you. 2 seconds. Yeah, so that's the company it come from. Vosper's Motorhouse. And it came to £119.95p. So there you go, for the whole lot, and that's all genuine parts, so that's really, really good. So we've got that. I want to grab the oil filter while I'm here, and obviously that sump plug, and then we can do that while we're under the car, and I'll show you obviously what's got to go where and stuff like that. Right, I've got you zoomed into the drain plug so you can see exactly what I'm going to do. You just put a glove on, more for the fact my hands are freezing than anything else. Now, I went to go and get the pliers and I've left them in the garage. Hold the line cooler. Because I got sidetracked showing you the service kit. I didn't actually pick up the pliers I went in there for, even though I got them out. Right, here we go. Okay, so you can see there is a small split pin. It slides in this way, so from the back of the car forward. So you've just got to slide that backwards like that, very easy. Make sure you get your bowl ready. And you should best do this by hand. It should just untwist. Which way does it go? Yep, it goes anti-clockwise as you'd expect. I think it's only a half twist, and then you just sort of pull it out. You might need pliers to pull it out because it's a little bit, where it's plastic on plastic, it does get a little bit stiff. Not much. There you go, you can see it coming out. If you're doing it with pliers, it's not too bad because it gets your hands out the way when you pull it out. Now, as you'd expect, being a diesel, this oil is as black as you're at. It was changed about, it's slightly over actually what it should be. I think it's done about 12,000 miles since it was last changed. I like to do it at 10 usually. I think probably the interval is 12, but I usually like to do it slightly earlier just to be on the safe side. But with the car being used every day, Mrs. MEC-TEC going to work, and obviously it's not here during most weekdays when I am, I haven't had a chance to do it. So she's at home today, so I said, right, I'm doing your car. We're actually taking a trip to Euro Disney in Paris next week, so this is probably very good timing for that because I don't really want to drive all that way knowing it needs a service. So that's it. That is the obviously the oil. Let that drain out. Now your new O-ring obviously goes on. I'm hoping you can see that the new O-ring is on here. So you just need to get a small pick or a very tiny screwdriver, pop that old one off, slide the new one on, and that is as simple as that. It's really, really easy. I thought that was a great idea the way they did that on this, rather than having a sump plug that goes stupidly tight and you can never undo it again, forever again. I'm trying to get it so this oil doesn't blow all over the driveway, but it's not working very well because it's getting to the stage now where it's a very fine stream. The wind blows, it goes everywhere, as you can imagine. Right, getting near the end of it. Right, I'm going to let that carry on draining, and once it's done, I'll come back to you and I'll show you the O-ring being changed so you know exactly where it goes, and obviously then we'll do the oil filter. Right, whilst that's still dripping its final dregs of oil out, I thought I'd show you the drain plug. Now, that's the drain plug all cleaned up, as you can see. It's got that half twist sort of lock-in tab on the back of it, and around the edge of it you can see the O-ring. I'll just tilt you down a little bit so you can see what's going on. Basically, just get something small like a pick or a screwdriver, get that under the edge of it, pop it out. And for those of you that are doing projects like this, or other projects I should say that are longer term and stuff like that, keep these O-rings, they come in handy. They've only been on the car for a year and they're usually still pretty pliable and nothing wrong with them, so obviously a change in par for the course. Right, there's the old one off, as you can see. Get a new one out of this massive bag to supply us with so we don't lose it. Always handy to pick these bags as well for parts to put in as well. These are quite good, these bags. And they're expensive to buy, believe it or not, so worth holding on to. As long as assuming it doesn't blow across the driveway before I get a chance to grab hold of it. Right, now I'm wearing gloves because my hands are cold and I can't open any packets. There we go. Right. Okay, new O-ring. Basically reverse of what we've just done. Slide it over. Very easy. There you go. New O-ring is on there. Now when you put this back in, a little smear of oil around the O-ring won't hurt, just to make sure that it's lubricated. And it obviously gets a nice seat in the sump. And it's as simple as that. So put that back in, your half turn, or how much it turns until it stops basically. Put your little split pin back in, which is, it's not really a split pin, it's one of these sort of horseshoe style, I don't know what you call those, but it's one of those. It's not a split pin as such, but it's got a special name, clevis pin or whatever you want to call it. Put that back in, and then you can forget about the sump, know that you've put all the plug back in, and you're not going to leak oil everywhere when you start filling it back up again. Right, as you can see there now, the oil is just dripping out of the sump rather than a constant stream. Yeah, that was a whistle, wasn't it? A constant stream. That is how I usually like to leave it until it gets to. So get a little bit of oil on your finger. As I said, a little smear around that O-ring to aid that going in. Put it back in. Yeah, you'll feel it click back into the slot like that, and it is a half turn clockwise like that. Get a rag then, clean up your bit where it's been dripping all around the edge of it. Leave it as clean as when you started, and then you get your little clevis pin or whatever you want to call it. In fact, I'm going to move the pot of oil out of the way first, because if I drop it, you know where it's going to go, don't you? That goes back in there. Can't see the gap. There we go. It's as simple as that. It can't go anywhere else. It's a bit of a, I thought it was a bit sort of not enough when I first saw it, but I've done one oil change on this car before, and it looks absolutely fine. So you've just cleaned it up, so hopefully you can see the outline of the clevis pin a bit better. There you go, that's all back in. So now with that done, we can turn our attention to the oil filter. Let's get our drain pan back over here, so we don't end up with oil all over the drive any more than what I already have. It takes quite a lot of oil, this engine. I think it's about 5.5 litres or thereabouts. I'll put the actual specific capacity on screen, so I'll check it, make sure, because they give you 6 litres when you buy that service kit, because obviously one 5 litre can is not enough. So okay, oil filter removal, pretty self-explanatory really. If you've got one of these oil filter removers, it makes it a lot easier, because obviously access is slightly limited around the edge of this. You've got to get it so the prongs are going the right way round, so that it locks onto it. And as per usual, I haven't. What am I doing here? Why is this not working? I did have it around the right way, I'm sure I did. Thought I did. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. No, I did have it. I don't know. Yeah, I did have it around the right way. Here we go. Okay, so get that so it's nice and tight on there. It should undo fairly easily. You're only supposed to do these up with by hand. There you go. Once you crack that off like that, it should spin off fairly straightforward. Probably get oil everywhere. Yep, there we go. I thought so. Get it off as quick as you can, because I'm getting oil in my glove, which is not ideal. Although these gloves have got rubber on the face from their material on the back, so it soaks in, and then you end up with black hands anyway. Right, there we go. A load more oil glug out of that. Now again, I usually let that, you can see it's a constant stream at the moment. I usually let that go until it's just dripping, to be making sure you're getting the most of all the old gunky oil out. So again, try not to get it over your driveway. One of these days I'll end up with a nice ramp in a new MEC-TEC garage, and it'll be very simple and easy to do on a ramp, and I'll be able to show you guys things a lot easier. But as it stands at the moment, we're on the floor. That's how it's probably going to be for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. There we go, here's what it is. We're in our house, that's the main thing. I have no grumbles or complaints. I'm feel incredibly grateful to be here. So right, as you can see, that's just dripping now. Give that a little clean up. on that pipe that's hanging down there. I'm not sure what that is. I'm assuming it's a vent pipe for something further up. It's now got oil all over it, so let's get that oil off of that. There we go. Give it a little wipe. If you've got a little bit of brake cleaner, it will go a long way. Unfortunately, my cans of brake cleaner have run out, but I have put some on this cloth, so hopefully whatever's on this cloth will wipe on there. Okay, new oil filter. Make sure, very important, that you put some oil around this seal. Sometimes what I do, I get the old one and I just put the new one on the face of it like that and just sort of turn it round, and that will give you a nice layer of oil on there. Then not quite enough on that one, so just dip your finger in the old oil, just give it a little rub round. Again, it aids it doing up, sealing and all that sort of thing. And then is a revert. I'm going to give it a little wipe up there because it's a bit manky. It is a reverse of what you've just done 30 seconds ago, basically. Now this is where a clean pair of gloves would be handy, because obviously you've got to grip this to do it up, and you're only supposed to do these up by hand, so you know, as tight as you possibly can by hand. Now unfortunately my grip is not once what it was, so I do sometimes struggle with this a little bit now, so I may hear some groans here. And there isn't a lot of access around this either, so what I might do is just nip it very, very, I'm talking minuscule amounts here, guys, nothing, don't start wanging it on there. Get it as tight as you can with your hands, and then if you really have to, go over it with that, just use the tool you did to undo it with to do it up, but you shouldn't really do that. I'm going to try and do it without if I can, just get it as tight as I can. That's as tight as I can get that by hand, and in theory that should be enough. So yeah, that is your oil filter change. Now that's basically everything underneath the car done. So we've got a reversal procedure to do on the under tray, which, as I say, is just those Torx 30 bolts around the edge. There's no point in me showing you that going back on again, because you've just seen me take it off. It's very, very self-explanatory, and if you have trouble taking that off, you probably shouldn't be servicing the car. But it's pretty easy. So there we go. Right, so there we go. There is that's all cleaned up nice, all on there, lovely jubbly. Make sure that it's all buttoned up, then you can forget about being under the car then and laying on the floor and being cold, and go topside and do all the bits up the top, and you haven't got to worry about it obviously leaking out all over the floor, which is nice. Right, I shall get this under tray put back on, we'll go topside, and then we'll go through the bits and bobs we're changing up there. Rightio, next job on the old CMAX, now we're topside, is the air filter. It's held on by 7mm bolts going into this plastic housing. There is 4, I believe. It's a very easy thing to change. It's a big, like, cylindrical drum cylinder on this one, and the actual filter itself makes up this side of the housing, believe it or not. It's kind of slides into a little sort of slot in the side of the box, and it makes it into the side of it. So I'll show you what I mean in a second. So 4 7mm, take that off. It's 7mm, isn't it? Just make sure I'm telling you the right information. Yeah, 4 7mm. That should, if I've undone the screws enough, lift out. What am I missing here? No, it's just a bit stuck. There we go. It doesn't want to come out because it's cold. There we go. Right. So as you can see, there is our air filter. Actually, that's not too bad, really. Considering that's done 12,000 miles, that's pretty good. I'll compare it to our new one. Probably going to be almost identical. Yeah, ain't a lot in it. Look, a bit different, slightly darker, but not really. So on these, you've got a little tab on them, you can see there. That slots into the bottom of the box. You can see what I was saying to you about the air filter making the side of the housing up. This slot here is what it slots into, that's semicircle, and that tab I just showed you goes into this small little bit here. So when you put it in, you get the tube end on first with that tab. Let me stand you back up so I can get two hands on this. When you put it in, make sure the tab is at the bottom. You get it in the box and you slide it onto the pipe, and it should, assuming you've got it orientated right, slot into that little gap at the bottom there and go. You have to squash it a little bit sometimes, because it kind of puts a bit of pressure on it as you do it. Look at that, I'm putting black oil marks all over that nice new air filter. Look, I'm going to take these gloves off. It's because these gloves have got oil on them now. See, wear gloves. It messes things up. Look at my hands up. I've had gloves on. How does that work? Let's wipe all that off. More mess than what I started with. Right, so as I was saying, you sort of have to squish it in a little bit to get it in to go into that slot. It's a bit tricky. Right, so at this point I'm going to interrupt myself and show you a little trick. I couldn't get this in for a little while and I couldn't work out why. And the reason being is, as you can see on the old one there, it's got a little curve to it. You have to put pressure on this end to squash it into the box. Now when you get the new one, you might have trouble getting this to click into the box at the bottom end. So give it a little, put it on the floor and just give it a little squash. You can see it move. It's got some movement in it. Once it gets that movement in it, it allows it to then squish into the box a lot easier than what it would if you just try it straight away. If you just try it straight away, you're going to struggle. So just give it a little squash like that. I know it puts a little kink in the air filter, but it doesn't break anything. It just makes it sort of go a little bit wavy. And then, as I found out, I never had this problem with the old filter, so I'm only assuming that they've changed the way they make the filters and it's not so easy to do now for whatever reason. Then, and if I can prop you up without falling over, as I was saying, you can get this in and you have to squish it slightly to get it in the box. Make sure your tab's in the right place and it should squish up a little bit and go in just like that. Now if it had happened like that the first time round, I'd have been done about 20 minutes ago. But that's why I've interrupted myself, because I was having trouble getting that in there. If I just shine a torch down in there, you can see he's inside that housing all the way around, and that is how you need it to be, because obviously you want it to be an airtight seal. Siren going, but a lot of sirens going past today. Oh, it's a police car. Usually it's only ambulances. So yeah, there we go. Obviously that's all in there and sealed. Make sure when you put the housing back on the top, you get the corresponding groove that's in that to go on top of your air filter as well. I'm really miffed I made that air filter dirty with those gloves. Stupid gloves, see? See what wearing gloves does to you? My dad always says to me, wear gloves. There you go, I wore gloves, Dad, look what happened. Right, that slides on the top side very easily, because obviously you can guide it onto the side of the air filter, no problem at all. And then it's just a case of dropping your screwdriver and doing up the 4 bolts that hold it on. It obviously will clamp down a little bit as it goes. I'm doing this handheld now, so sorry if it's a bit wobbly. Once that all clamps it down, the housing itself holds the air filter in, which is why it's got that pressure on it. There you go, job done. That's your air filter in, all clicked in, sealed all the way around the edge. That is very important, because otherwise you'll end up with air leaks in the edge of the airbox and it won't perform properly and won't filter the air properly. So there we go, air filter done. Right, we're on to our last filter now, which is the fuel filter. And if I'm honest, I can't remember where it is. I think it's under this cover. So let me get you set up on the tripod and we'll have a look. Right, as I was saying, under this cover I believe is the fuel filter. You just have to pull up on this sharply. It's got like rubber sort of stoppers in it, which pop into like sockets like that. So you just have to pull up on that. You've got one little ball and socket there, one little ball and socket over here, and I think one there as well. So there we go, there is that. Now, with that off, I can safely tell you that the fuel filter is underneath that metal plate just there, which I believe, looking at those, is an 8mm socket. Let me grab an 8mm socket. Now that metal plate you can see is just a cover plate to protect the fuel filter. Underneath there is another cover that you have to take off, which then allows you to get to the filter itself. So 8mm there, 8mm there, pretty easy. That should just lift off. Oh no, there's one more. It's 3 8mm, sorry. One at the back as well, for good measure. You can lift it out with it so you don't drop the bolt, otherwise you'll be in a world of pain. Okay, that then reveals the top of the fuel filter housing. You will need to take off the 2 fuel pipes and the plug. The plug's got like a little sort of thing, sort of connector on it. You just lift up on that end of it, pull it gently and it slides off. These fuel connectors are broken. You lift up on that tab, which shouldn't come out like that because that bit's broken off, and that should just pull out. Mrs. MEC-TEC's here. It's in the garage. Hang on, I'll get it. Right, as I was saying, that clip literally just disintegrated in my hands. So there's a little, you're supposed to just squeeze these and they come off, but obviously this one, for whatever reason, has decided it didn't want to be a clip anymore, and the cold has obviously got to it, and hot and cold, and it's broken it off. Whoops, now I've just dropped it down there. Okay, it's slightly annoying. Right, on the other, I'm just looking at the other one. Usually what you would do is pop the middle out, and I believe you push down on the collar like that, and then it should get something to lever it off with. It should just pop off. Yeah, like that. So let me show you a bit up more close. So ignore this one because this one's broke. This one, you pop that centre bit out, which is this bit that's just come off in my hand on this one. So this bit comes out towards you, and then you push in on the collar around it. See it move? That unlocks it, and then you can just pop it off. Now you will get a little bit of fuel come out of here. Might have to come click it out of these pipes, where these clips over here, just to give it a little bit of movement. Undo that one there, and that one there, and that one there. That will aid you in getting a bit of movement in these pipes, because obviously they're plastic, so you don't want to be bending them around too much because they'll be brittle and they'll snap. Right, that should just pull off of there now. He says. Well, we're not moving off. Come on, don't mess me about. I'm being very gentle with this because it's all plastic, so if you do use a screwdriver like this, make sure you don't go hell for leather at it, because it will snap and you'll be in a world of pain. Right, that's one pipe off, as you can see there. Now you used to say you will get a little bit of fuel come out of it, there's nothing much you can do about that. Now, in the case of this clip which is broke, the middle bit that you would pull up and out is now already gone, because it's come out completely because this side has snapped. So you should be able to push down. Let me turn you around a bit so you can see a little bit better. If this happens to you, this will give you a bit of experience. Whoop. Trying to stop you from falling over. 2 seconds. Right, there we go. Okay, because the middle bit that would usually sit inside here has snapped out, with this, all you need to do is push down on this collar like that. In theory, it should pop off the same way. He says. And notice this one's got a little slot in the top of there as well. I don't know if you've got it's got like a little clasp in there. Right, I think on this one the pipe is slightly different. So what you have to do is get in, push it down, pop the pipe off the back of it. Perhaps not. Tell I haven't done this too often, can't you? And so I'm being very gentle with this because I don't want to break it. I'm pretty certain the pipe pulls out the back of this one, but because that clip's broke I can't push down on both sides at the same time now because it's snapped. So let's try and just do this bit by bit. Push down that side as well. There we go, that was easier. So if this does happen to you, you can still get it out. The housing, that bit, leave it alone, that stays there, and the pipe comes out the back of it, see? Like that. Hopefully you can see that all right. It's a bit unfortunate that snapped, but there's not much I can do about that, so it is what it is, unfortunately. Right, with that off, you then need to get a socket on that plastic nut on the top there, and undo it. Let me zoom you out slightly, because you are a bit close. Let me go and grab a socket for that. I'm not sure, 100% sure what size it is. I'm going to guess at a 21mm, but I'm not sure. Let's see what we got. See how close I was to my guess. What did I say, 21mm, didn't I? Nah, nowhere near it. 24? Yeah, 24mm. So that is your size for that, 24mm. And the whole housing just undoes. I'm not 100% sure how far around it goes. I think it just keeps going. And then when you get to when you're doing it back up again, it's actually got a little stop on it, so you can't go too tight. Right, there we go. That is loose. Like that. Again, you probably will get diesel. In fact, let's get a cloth. Let's see what sort of state this is in under here. Right, so the lid comes off without the actual filter. The filter's still in there, as you can see there. Housing all looks fine now. I think the new filter comes with the O-ring for this as well. It usually does. I'll show you in a second. Let's have a look and see what this filter's like. Should just pull out. You might need to get a persuader on it. Slight pry up on that. Again, don't go mad on it because it is a plastic housing. It doesn't take a lot, it's just I couldn't get a very good grip on it. Come on. Well, you're not going to come out. At this point, I'm just going to check the new one to make sure I'm not missing anything. There you go, new O-ring, there's the new filter. Pretty sure it just pulls off the looks of that. There's no threads or anything on it or anything like that, so you just got to be a little bit more persuasive with it but gentle at the same time. Oh, there we go, that was easy. Just didn't have enough purchase on it on the screwdriver on the top. If you get the screwdriver just into the side of the element, you get a bit more of a purchase on it. Now you can see by the colour of that how dirty it's gotten over the last 12,000 miles, and believe it or not, this can really affect how an engine runs. You can see the difference there, look. So let's go and get rid of this old filter quickly so it's not dripping everywhere. I'm going to put it in my trailer, put it in the old box for a second so it doesn't drip all over the drive. Chuck that in there so it can't do any damage anywhere. Right, new filter. Now some may say to drain that out. I personally don't, because then you have problems starting it. Yeah, I usually just sort of carefully put the new one in and try not to disturb anything that's in the housing as far as debris and stuff like that. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know, but that's the way I do it. So it should just click in like that. There's no arrows or anything that I can see on it to say it's got to be facing a certain way. That is in. With your O-ring, same as the sump plug, pop the O-ring off. Very easy. Keep that in your parts bin for later. Get your new one on. Never know when you need a big O-ring. Whee! Right. There we go. New O-ring is in there. A little bit of diesel around it to aid it slipping when you do it up. Trying to get a bit more in there really. Let's get a bit on my finger. There you go. Right, there we go. Simple as that. And that just then twists back on top. And when you start it, don't rev it, because otherwise any air in the system or any gaps in the system where there's not fuel will get drawn through quicker. This is only what I found from previous experience. Will get drawn through quicker, and then it'll conk out and you won't get it started again. If you let it just tick over, it's got a bit more time to allow the fuel to get back where it needs to be again, and you won't have any problems with it conking out. That's what I've found anyway in the past. So okay, so we're just doing a reversal now of what we've just done. Do this back up. As I say, it has got a tab on it. You can only go so far. You can see the tab. Ooh. Sorry about the camera work today. This tripod's acting up. You can see the tab I'm talking about there. You basically wind it until that hits the other tab on the bottom of the housing, and then you can't go any further and you won't over tighten it. There we go, that's it. That is tight up to the tab, can't go any further. Click your pipes back in. Now that obviously clip on that one is not ideal, but it is still holding the pipe solid, so that's not a problem, or it shouldn't be a problem. This one obviously can go back on as well. Just be careful when you're flexing it to try and get it on, that you don't inadvertently snap it. Come on. It's not quite home yet. You can see, because you still see the little step that it clicks over. Not going in. These pipes on this are quite tight. I'll get the angle just right. This tripod is giving me the hump today, I'm not going to lie. Constantly falling over. Right, stay there, silly tripod. Silly tripod. Right, I've got to get the angle of this just right, or it won't go on. At the moment, I haven't got the angle of it quite right, so gently pry up on it. Very gently, I might like to add, just to try and get the angle to change. You shouldn't have to squeeze that clip in for it to go back on again. It's almost like it's got to twiddle that way slightly. So by pushing the pipe up here, that way it should go on, should. I hate forcing things like this, because you know what'll happen, it'll all go peaked on. Just going to try pushing that clip in slightly, see what that does. Pull the middle bit out again, because it's popped the middle bit in the locking bit. See if that helps our calls. Put you around here, because I need to get where you were sitting. There, 'cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'Cause I need to get where you were sitting. 'C just catching on the edge of this little collar. Why is it whenever you try and do something on camera, it never works first time? Oh, God. Right, what I'm going to do is pop it back off again, just a little way. You see it wasn't on there very easily. You can see the angle that I'm talking about as well. Just make sure that's fully home, which I think it is. Yeah, it is. And what I'm going to do is push on this side of the pipe as it goes on with that clip and see whether that helps it go in a bit easier. So close, so close. In fact, I'm closer now than I was before, so it's done something right. There it goes. Right, we're on. And obviously then get your little screwdriver or whatever you're using. I've now lost. There you go. And push that locking tab back down again. With this one, I wonder if I can get that locking tab to just go back in there on one side, so it's underneath one side of it. Wrong way round, you bit of an idiot. Try again. Right, there we go. The locking tab is back in the middle. Whether it will stay there or not, I don't know. In theory, it can't go anywhere. I might try and get a little bit of super glue, fish that bit of clip out that's gone in down there, and just stick it back on maybe. But obviously, with super glue, it's only going to break again next time, so it's probably not much point really. A bit unfortunate that, but as I say, literally as soon as I touched it, it snapped. So it's obviously because it's cold out or whatever. One thing I haven't plugged in yet, which don't forget, is that electrical plug there. It just clicks on easy. And that's it. That's your fuel filter. Now, obviously, I'm going to get a little bit of glue and just see if I can glue that back on. But if you was finished now, you'd end up just putting this plate back on again and forgetting all about it. 3 bolts, and that is it. Job done. Final job after this is going to be the cabin filter or pollen filter, whichever you'd like to call it. Possibly the fiddliest job out of the whole service, to be honest with you. It's a right pain to get to a lot of the time. Some cars it's easy, but I tend to find on a lot of Fords it's a right pain in the bum. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue, bit of a tart, and glue that back on there and try and get it to stick. And once I've done that, I'll come back to you and we'll be inside the footwell of the car to do this cabin filter. Righty ho, we are glued up on the old clip. I have satisfied my OCDness for now. Whether it will hold or not is another matter. Now, I'm not going to put that metal cover back on yet because I want to make sure these pipes and everything aren't leaking. I do it every time just to be on the safe side. Make sure the housing's not leaking, make sure the O-ring hasn't been trapped anywhere inside that housing when it's been done up, and obviously make sure the pipes are back on there properly. So I always get it running before I put that metal cover back on. Now your oil fill is just there, so that's a half twist, take that off. When you fill the oil, pull the dipstick out slightly, lets the air out, and it allows the oil to flow into the engine down to the bottom a lot easier than what it would do if it was closed. I'm not 100% sure on the capacity of this yet. I think it's about just under 6 litres. It's a fair bit. They give you 6 litres in the service kit, so they obviously give you this big can and they give you a little extra can to sort of top it up as needed. So I'm pretty sure you're going to need at least 5 litres. So I'll get this put in, and when I know, I've looked at the dipstick at exactly how much it takes, I can obviously let you know then, because I can't remember off the top of my head what it takes. Now when you pour the oil in, silly thing I know, pour the can sideways like that. It doesn't glug then, it pours in nice and smooth, especially if you haven't got a funnel. It pours in nice and, don't do that, throw new oil everywhere, because you don't want to be doing that, do you? Right, as I was saying, I've just cut the video there because I had a bit of an explosion whereby the funnel didn't want to stay upright anymore. Ford in their infinite wisdom have put a grill right there where the oil fill is, because right underneath that is the cam chain. So you can't actually get a filter in the hole properly without it falling out. So I'm gonna have to try and pour this freestyle. Oh, he's nailed it. Now, when you do this, whenever you pour oil or anything for that matter, antifreeze, screen wash, whatever, hold the bottle sideways. It stops it glugging. It lets the air into the bottle quicker, and it allows you to get a nice smooth pour, like I am hopefully demonstrating on camera right now. I'm not 100% sure you can see it, but it's all going into the fuel filler and not all over the engine like it did a second ago when the funnel went everywhere. A few choice words were said, not gonna lie. Something very satisfying about doing a service on your car, I find anyway. It just makes me feel like I'm doing the best for it, if that makes sense. Now I've just glugged that because the scuttle panel got in the way. I had just cleaned all this down with brake cleaner, but I'm gonna have to do it again now. For whatever reason, Ford's thought it, in their infinite wisdom, was a good idea to put the oil filler half underneath the scuttle panel, so you haven't got great access to it, which is not ideal. Never mind. Right, that's 5 litres gone in there. Half a litre gone all over the engine by the look of it. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is mop up that mess I've just made. It's only on that edge there, it's not much. And we'll check the level to see where we're at, and that will give us a rough idea then of how much more we've got to put in. Okay, we are on the minimum mark, and that is with just under 5 litres, because I glogged a bit over the engine. Let's just make sure that if this doesn't go in straight away, try twisting the dipstick, because it will find its way in the pipe easier. Stop it. Right, you can see there it is on the minimum mark on that dipstick. So we'll get our extra litre of oil. Usually between minimum and maximum is about a litre. So bear that in mind. It varies obviously from car to car, so don't take that as gospel. This one's obviously going to be a lot easier to pour because it's a bit smaller. I'm going to put all this in because I think it will need it once it gets around the oil filter as well. It will obviously, the level will drop, you know. Get as much out you can as you can. It's expensive stuff. It's Castrol MEC-TEC, proper stuff. 0.30 this oil is, it takes in this. I questioned that when I first did a service on this because I thought it was a bit thin. I thought it should have been 5.30, but for whatever reason in this particular engine, it's 0.30. Interestingly enough, you can see on the manifold there, it's got a Citroen logo, because this is a Citroen PSA engine. See it there? It says Ford Moco on it, and it's sort of Citroen, the Peugeot logo right underneath. See the Peugeot line and the Citroen arrows? So it's proof, if any, that it is a joint engine with everybody. Used in a lot of different things over the years, and it's a pretty good engine, to be fair. We've had it in 2 different CMAXs, and we had a Cougar very briefly as well that we had the same engine in too. It's a good old engine. Oh, there goes the big oil can. Right, with that can in, put that down there. Let's check our level. That is about there. You can see that on the camera. So it is a little bit lower than max actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it up with this metal housing stuff to make sure there's no leaks. Let the oil flow around, get the fuel going again. That's around the wrong way, I can't have that. There we go. and then we'll check the oil again, and I've probably got another little top up I can put in the garage. So let's get it running, see what it sounds like, and hopefully we'll be somewhere near it. There we go. As you can see, it's not conked out yet, which is good. Fuel is getting around where it should be. And getting all the air out of its system itself, which is good. We've got no leaks around here. That's all dry. Looks like my glue is now dried too. No leaks around there. The housing's all dry. It's all good. Needs a bit of a clean with some brake clean where I've got a bit of diesel down the side of it. But there's no leak there. That's fine. So we're all good at that side of things. I want to slosh a bit of brake cleaner over that to clean it up. We'll switch it off and then check our engine at oil level again. Rightio. Give it a little top up with a bit of extra that I had in the garage after my slight spillage. And we are bob on the line, basically. So that is really, really good. Nicely topped up, ready to go. Last job we've got to do is the cabin air filter, the Nemesis. I hate that job so much, I don't know why, but I just don't like it. So yeah, right, let's get inside and do that. Right, I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this all right. We're inside the passenger side footwell in the front, and there is a felt, sorry to crush my mic, there is a felt piece up here. It's got two little pull clips on it. Pull them off. And that just drops down like that, which reveals one of your fuse boxes in the car, but also, let me take you off the tripod and show you, hang on a second, that black cover up there, which is the bit you're looking for. Now it's got two squeeze tabs on the side of it. Squeeze them in, it pulls out, hooks out the top. It's as easy as that. It's actually quite an easy cabin filter on this one. It's not as bad as I thought. Some of them you have to take the fuse box out and everything. This one, it should, sorry I'm doing this handheld, should just be able to pull it out. There's a little bit of winkling. It is a bit of a fiddle, but there we go. And that is your cabin filter. Not too bad at all actually. Now you can compare that, this has got carbon. It's a carbonised filter, there's the back of it, that's the dirty side, look, you can see the difference. And obviously our new one looks basically the same, slightly lighter, but there we go. So that is basically as easy as that. Sometimes they have screws in the end of those covers. Whoops, dropped you. Sometimes they have screws in the end of those covers, but this one either hasn't been put back in or I didn't have them in the first place. Now, one thing to note when you do this, make sure you put the filter back in the right way. And you'll know this because on the top it says airflow and two arrows, so you can't really get it wrong. So obviously you want those facing towards the inside of the car. It is a case of fiddling it back up in there again, which is a faff, I'm not going to lie, but it can be done. You have to bend it a little bit here and there, but it's only a paper filter, so it should go in all right. To be a little bit forceful in places, don't like to be, but just got to get it started at the beginning and it will just slide in. It's a bit fiddly, as I've said about a billion times. Probably the worst job out of all I find anyway, out of the whole service, but there we go, that's it, it's in. Simple as that. You've got a little sort of bit on the top here, that cover, which slots in first at the very top of the housing, and then it just clicks into the bottom. Like that, there you go. Put your bit of felt back in. It's got like a little ledge it sits on just there to get that in there in the ledge so that it doesn't hang down and look silly. Your 2 little pop clips, which just go back on these yellow studs. Sometimes you have to put the clips on first and then sort the back end out after, where it goes into that slot, because otherwise it will just keep falling down. You can see the yellow clip I'm talking about there. That's what it goes on to. Slide it over the top of that, push it on, tuck that in, like that. There we go, job done. That is your cabin filter replaced. Top banana. Right, I've just come to top up the antifreeze on Mrs. MEC-TEC's car, and as you can see, the filler is right underneath the scuttle panel, so you can't actually get a bottle in there to do anything with it, which is ridiculous. So I've come up with a little homemade solution. I'm just trying to get you propped up. I've got an old Coke bottle. I've cut a square in it there, so hopefully I'll put the other end in there and pour the water in this end. It should fill it up. Blimey, it's only working. Sometimes my genius knows no bounds. So there you go. There's a little little trick for you there. If you've got a washer bottle or a fillet or a radiator bottle that's inaccessible to a filler, get an old Coke bottle, cut a slot in one end of it, and you should be well away. There we go. Right, that's the coolant reservoir topped up. I'm going to check the washers and then we'll go inside. Okay, final job on the old CMAX before we are done. If I start this up, you'll see it comes up on the screen, oil change required. Now we need to reset that, because obviously that's going to be obviously a counter that needs to be reset so that it knows when it needs an oil service next time round. So to do that, you switch the ignition off, or switch your car off I should say. Switch the ignition on. Oh, hang on, I have my foot on the brake. Right, switch the car off, switch the ignition on only. Put your foot, well, it comes up with that obviously. Put your foot all the way down on the accelerator and brake and hold it there. It says service oil reset in progress. Keep holding the pedals. I haven't moved my feet. Just keep holding it. There you go. Oil reset complete. I've still got my feet on the pedals all the way to the floor on the accelerator and the brake. I usually wait until that little message goes out on the screen. I think it goes out, either that or you let off the pedals and then it goes. So I'm going to let off the pedals now. There you go, it's gone. So, in theory now, I switch it off, switch it back on again with my foot on the brake and start it. It shouldn't come up with anything. Seatbelt information, yeah, that's fine. Yep, there we go. No more binging and bonging and no more message on the screen. So that is reset. And just for my service record history, 53,644 miles is when it was serviced. So I need to put that on the receipt and put it in the history of the car. So I know it's all done and ready to go again for another 10 or 12,000 miles. Lovely jubbly. Right then, it is about a week later. We've been to Euro Disney and back, around about a 580 mile round trip, and the old Grand CMAX performed absolutely faultlessly. I'll put a couple of pictures on the screen now to prove it was on the Euro tunnel and also obviously in the car park when we got to France. It absolutely was superb, didn't miss a beat the whole way there, the whole way back. Cruise control pretty much all the way, and it was as easy as anything. So that is absolutely mega. A great time was had by all in Euro Disney, especially the kids. Can't say the same for me and Mrs. MEC-TEC. We had back pain galore walking around there for 2 odd days, but anyway, it was worth it. That's the main thing. Now you can see a little sneak peek here of what has been going on in the MEC-TEC garage. I have been working on the old Lotus engine. It is progressing very, very well, and that will be in an upcoming video very, very soon. So hopefully we'll have a bottom end of an engine again very, very soon with any luck. So that will be absolutely mega. Now remember to do 4 things for me: like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. It's all free, it costs you absolutely nothing, and I really, really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out massively, and hopefully gets my name out there for other people to watch the videos and enjoy, hopefully with any luck. So obviously spread the word. If you've got friends that like car stuff and all that sort of thing, then obviously put them onto my channel, and hopefully they'll enjoy it too. We've got a fair few things bubbling away in the background at the moment as far as videos, so hopefully I might get a few more videos out a little bit more regularly in the near future. But all that's left for me to say for now is thank you very much for watching, and if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I will see you again next time. Cheers guys.